can see my screen too. All right, cool update. Hopefully those rates continue to kind of stabilize a little bit, but we'll see. I know this month, well, as we get into November, that they were talking about the Fed adjusting some more, so we'll see what that does. But with that said, today I'm going to focus a little bit more on geo-farming for listings. We'll do a recap, and I'm going to show some samples from doing the IDX saved searches that we talked about last week. I had a couple agents reach out and ask, maybe I didn't clarify quite enough of what you can do with those saved searches as far as promoting and getting business from it. So we'll do a quick recap on that. The reason why I'm covering this is, I've shown some graphs over the past couple weeks and just about sales volume. And, across the United States, the sales volume is down. The Fed wants a market correction. That is their mission currently, and it is driving down the sales volume. So, there's not as many people looking to buy. There's not as people are kind of locking in on listing their home. They're waiting to see what happens with rates, things like that. So that doesn't mean things aren't going to sell. They are going to sell. There's life events. We touched on that a couple weeks ago. The must sell homeowners out there. There's a death, there's a divorce, there's things going on in their life that are forcing them to sell. So those are still going to be in the marketplace. They're always going to be in the marketplace. So we can get your question. We have a question in the chat. Andrew, if you want to grab that, it's about a loan. So what it's going to take over the next, 6 to 12 months is definitely some extra effort of getting listings sold. We can't just put it on the market these days and get 5, 10, 15 offers. It is taking some effort and some strategy now. We can, cover that kind of stuff individually if you want, if you have questions about a listing that's maybe sitting on the market. And it's going to take more effort to get leads coming in. The past year or two, it's been very easy to acquire clients and things like that. Everybody was looking to buy. It's going to take a little more effort now to get a listing, to get a buyer. And so we need to put in more strategy and more effort on a weekly basis into what we're doing. And so that's why I've been going over the geo farming last week and this week, because this is, it's a proven strategy, decades old. People have been doing this, agents have been doing this. And once you get it in place, it really generates a sustainable career for you, because you've delved into a community and become the expert in that community. They see your listing signs, they see you working with buyers in the area, more people want to work with you. So this is part of the reason why geofarming works so well for the agents that implement it and work it on a week by week basis. So we'll do the recap real quick. We talked about last week about basically advertising other brokers' listings. If it's through an IDX search, it's perfectly within the guidelines of MLS rules to advertise an IDX page. So that's where we came into the saved search pages and advertising those. And again, I'm going to show some samples here. It's an easy way to set up little niche searches, diving into a community or diving into a type of property, or touching on properties that are maybe a hot topic. Right now, we're getting a fair amount of questions about foreclosures and short sales and things like that. And we're not really in that market yet. I mean, I have seen a little bit of an uptick there, but for the most part, homeowners still have a lot of equity. So we're not really in that market, but we're getting the inquiries on it, and there are foreclosures available. So, could you create a search, a saved search with your IDX and say, hey, here's a list of the foreclosures. and get people interested in clicking on that, getting onto your IDX search, looking through the properties that you've put forth for them to view. That's how you generate a lead, or that's one way you can generate a lead. These are also great for Google pay-per-clicks if you're looking to implement that. You can do very niche keyword searches, foreclosure homes for sale in whatever city, things like that, different ways. I always like to think, what would I Google to find the information? That's the keywords that I set it up for, and then you generate the saved search page accordingly. So if it's, homes for sale in a certain community, and then that's your Google ad, your IDX saved search would be that saved search of homes in that particular community, because that's what that consumer was looking for. So I can show you how to do it on Sierra. First, I'll show a few samples, which I showed last week, but they're a little small, so I'm going to go over them a little bit more in detail. So what I did, this was an actual posting that I put up on just one of the numerous pages that I have. As I inputted the save search link, which is this link right here, into Facebook, it generated this image right here, and then I just added in some text in the body. I just said, can you believe there are now, more than 20 homes available for sale in Carlsbad under 800K. So that's what this community here looks like. Your community could say 500 or 800, or, I try and choose a price point that's kind of like, really, maybe unbelievable, but there actually is. And there are, 20 properties for sale in Carlsbad under 800K. So if someone clicks that, it takes them over to the save search. This is the name of the search here. And these are the properties that are for sale, and they can kind of scroll through and get more information. They can click on one. You want to have a really nice IDX, because that's what will keep people coming back. So let me go back here. This shrinks down. So that'd be one sample. Another one you could do, again, here's foreclosures. So this would be a trending topic. You can do the exact same thing, and you can change out the image as well. This is just the default image for when you click on that link. This is what our website displays as the default image, which is actually our header image. But you can change that out in Facebook as you do this posting. If you have maybe something a little more eye-catching, maybe you want to post a picture of a home, make sure you have the rights to post that picture of the home. But that's another way to do it too. I would say that this isn't necessarily the best image to use, the default image of the website. So I would maybe insert something else. You can go into Canva or something and make something a little more eye-catching that maybe says, foreclosure homes are on the rise, or something like that. That might be a good option. This one, if you're trying to gear towards investors, which is probably not a bad idea. They're not super prevalent in the market right now as they were 6 months ago or a year ago, but they will come back around pretty quickly once the rates start adjusting, once the market finds a direction. Right now, it's kind of bouncing around a little bit. We're seeing, maybe some deteriorating price conditions in some communities, but I can't say that's in every single community. So, look up the data in your MLS, or if you're really in tune with your market, what's happening. If investors are prevalent right now, if prices are stabilized, if they're starting to decline, and create your trending topics for your saved searches accordingly. And those are what you're putting out into the world for people to click. Some other ways to do it is, if you're on Facebook, you can just do, the text with the little image behind it, and then put the link down in the comments to try and get a thread going. That's a good tactic to get some comments going on the post that you're putting up. Sometimes you'll get a little extra juice on the post as far as it being shared around in the algorithms. So you can do all these same ones that I just did, but this is just a different way of doing it. So if you don't want to display, the header image or whatever default image is for your IDX, some of them may show one of the homes that's within that search. I've seen some IDXs do that. So it depends on your IDX. So this would be another way of how to post those. More foreclosure homes are available this week. View the full list now. Link in the comments. Over 40 multiplex properties available for sale in San Diego County. You can really do just a search for just about anything, really, but you want to start honing it in the area or the type of property you want to start working with. So that's where this is going to go a little further, because if you're just kind of doing it all over the place, that may net you less results. If you're being more consistent about the types of properties or the area that you're posting these in, that's when people will start recognizing you more as, this is the area you work in, and this is the area I want to buy in. So you're the agent I want to work with. As far as setting one of these up, if you are a Sierra user, actually, it's probably going to be very similar to many of the IDX systems out there. Just move this. It's just like setting up a search in the MLS. You'll give it a name, and then you'll pick your area and the type of property you're trying to create a safe search for. So maybe you just want single family homes in a certain zip code. And with our IDX, you can do it. You can sort it by days on market. This is kind of a interesting one, the price reduction. So you can actually create a search of homes that have had certain amounts of price reductions, which is actually a search that people like to use because they think that those sellers are more motivated than other sellers. So they look for homes that have had a fair amount of price reductions since the listing date. So you can create a search that's had, at least a 15% reduction, and then start it off at a certain price. And then basically just click save, and then it'll save it. I've got a bunch of them in here. So this is, I don't even know what's going to pop in on this. Maybe nothing. Yeah, because I didn't set enough up in this search, but you would want to be a little more detailed, and then some homes would pop into this search, just like they do with some of the other ones. So so that's the recap of that. Hopefully that helps a little bit on what you can do with a saved search, especially if you're a Sierra user and putting out some content on your social media, or if you want to set up some other types of advertising. So let's talk about farming for listings. So obviously there's a ton of ways you can advertise for listings, solicit listings. There's just a lot of different ways. Geofarming is one of them. And one way you can do it is the market reports. So quick recap from last week. We talked about generating lists of the sales that have happened in a neighborhood, and that it's okay to market that as long as you're not claiming that you were part of that sale, but you can provide the data of the community. So one way of doing that is the neighborhood market reports. You can deliver these in a lot of different ways. You can do, sorry, let me back up. So this is a form of providing neighborhood or community home values and sales activities to consumers. Even if you don't have the active sales in the neighborhood, you can start providing this information and generating interest in what you're promoting. So what you're going to need to be able to do this is a system to deliver the market reports digitally. Sierra users have this ability. A lot of other CRMs do. You can use something even as simple as like MailChimp to deliver emails, and you can create your own market report in there to send out on a monthly basis. That's probably a little more time consuming. It's still probably less than an hour out of your month to set this up and deliver it to your database. A home value website, this is highly recommended. This is included with Sierra as well. You can get third-party ones out there. They're not too bad. They could be anywhere from $30 to $50 a month, depending on the provider, where it's set up kind of like a personal Zillow page for you, where a consumer can put in their property address and get an instant value. It's an automated value, but it's an instant value. The less expensive service providers out there that I've seen generally don't provide the instant value. They may say someone's going to be in contact with you shortly with the CMA. So it's more of a lead generating page. Those can be a little more frustrating with consumers because they were expecting to get their home value, not a call. So the automated ones are kind of cool because it gives them their value now. You do collect their info, and that you nurture that lead accordingly. You'll want a Facebook biz page or an Instagram community page or something like that. A YouTube channel. That's really a great thing to do because you can really hone in on specific communities, especially if you're wanting to incorporate any sort of community videos, walkthrough videos, things like that about certain communities. And communities could be, maybe it's a zip code, maybe it's a master plan, whatever your definition of a community is for that. I just wouldn't make it too big, like the whole city. That can be, for some areas, too much. And then a CRM, any CRM, what's the best CRM out there? The one that you use. It could be $10 a month. It could be $500 a month. Just if you use it, that's the best one. So choose the one that suits you best and has a function that you're going to actually use. If you're not using the tools that you have or you're paying for, it's just money out the window. So don't pay for stuff you're not going to use. Find one that is easy for you and has the functionality that you want. At minimum, you're going to want an email drip, and the text autoresponders would be the next item on my must-have list for a CRM. If you have a very inexpensive CRM, it's probably just coming with some sort of email campaign or email drip, which is fine for delivering these market reports. If you're using it for heavier lead gen, you're definitely going to want the text autoresponders, the voicemail drops, social media integrations, things like that, but those can get a little more expensive. If you're wanting to get in on the Sierra that we have, it provides these top three right here. It does not necessarily have a social media integration as far as connecting into your messenger. So mailers, they're still good if you do them properly. The spray and pray that we used to do, a decade ago or even further back, where you would send out, 10,000 pieces of mail, isn't necessarily bringing in the numbers that it used to bring in. So you might want to think about honing that down into specific communities instead of just sending it out to, random people in a certain zip code or something like that, which is kind of what a lot of us realtors that have been in the business a long time used to do back then. So the post office does have a discounted method for postage. It's called EDD. It's Every Door Direct. If you have not been on that, here's what the site looks like. Basically, you come in here, you're going to use the online tool, and it just kind of walks you through. Now, they have some stipulations on the size of the postcards and mailers that you send out. That's all easy to find. All the info is on this site. But you can see that the price per piece is much less with the EDD. So basically, you're going to find carrier routes. So if you're thinking about your neighborhood, you're a carrier route. Your neighborhood may be split into 2 different carrier routes, though. So you may have to get multiple routes in one neighborhood. And this tool right here helps you find the correct carrier route that you're going to want to send the mail to. And it's much cheaper to send out bulk mail through this than anywhere else. So if you're wanting to do mailers, I would look into this product if you don't have a mailing list and you're just wanting to hit a specific community every month. So look into this product here. It's from the United States Post Office, and just Google the EDD post office or something like that, and you'll come onto that page. Let me zoom in again. Working off the PDF, it keeps taking me off the PDF here. So that's the Everdoor Direct. Now, if you're looking, okay, you're like, great, this is what I want to do, but you need some templates. Breakthrough Broker is a great option for this. I might have that window open, actually. I do. So you can go to Breakthrough Broker. You can type in, let's see. Yeah, they have them in here. They've got postcards all ready to go. You can do your market reports through here. Just pick the one you want, put in the info, and save it basically and have it printed. So I think they have printing services through here as well, but that's one place. Another, I know Anahid's a big fan of this. You can go over to Etsy, and they've got market mailers in there as well. So go in there, and they've got all these postcard bundles. They've got all kinds of stuff in here as well. Just kind of scroll through. You search it like you search Google, market mailers, and they've got door knockers in there. Looks like they got a bunch of different stuff. So you can poke around in there and find yourself a good template to use in there to send out on the monthly basis. So I say monthly basis because for the mailers, to be successful with mailers, you have to be consistent. So the keys to having this be successful for you and getting a return on your money is consistency, value, and CTA. So you have to think about your own neighborhood. How often does a home list in your neighborhood? I know my neighborhood, I won't see a listing in my neighborhood for a year sometimes. And then maybe there's one, and then another one follows pretty soon after. So if I'm marketing to my particular neighborhood and thinking that because I sent 1 or 2 mailers and didn't get a return on my value, it's because my neighborhood doesn't have a lot of turnover. So keep that in mind. Don't think that you're failing. Just keep in mind that if it's a small neighborhood or a neighborhood that doesn't have a lot of turnover, that you're going to have to do this over and over and over again. So this is a long game for sure. But every time you're sending it, it is a branding piece for you too. So people are seeing your face, they start following you. And that's where, the consistency comes in. Being consistent, doing it month after month after month, delivering those market reports and whatever it is, whatever value you're offering them. That's the second one. What is the value you're offering them? Neighborhood market updates to help homeowners track their potential home sales. One way to provide value. If sales volume in the neighborhood is low, providing monthly comps of similar homes nearby, that can be just as effective if there's not much going on in your particular neighborhood. So what are the 3 factors I consider being valuable as a consumer? So it's pricing, product, and service. So what are you offering on your mailer? The pricing. Let's say, you know, you're offering the market report and also a pitch. What is it? How are your fees? How do they align with number 2 and 3, which is product and service? Product, what tools do you have to get their home sold fast and for top dollar? Service, what kind of service experience do you provide? So in my opinion, I want to see these 3 things from an advertiser to entice me to use whatever it is or buy whatever it is that they have. So think about that when you're creating your marketing pieces. You know, how's my pricing? What products am I offering? And how's my service? So your value proposition, you know, it needs to hit 2 of 3 of these out of the park to be effective. Strive for 3 of 3. CTA, that's call to action. I see a lot of mailers come through and I'm like, wow, like this is a really flashy piece, but there's no call to action. It's not asking me to do anything afterwards. It's not trying to get my information. Like it was kind of useless for the person to send this to me. So how can you get the consumer, you know, how can the consumer reach you or find out more information before deciding to reach out to you? Give the consumer multiple ways to reach out to you or to get more info. Say call, text before your cell number. I know not everybody likes to text, but I just saw a statistic this morning. 68% of consumers under the age 30 prefer to text over a phone call. So if you're offering that as an option, you'll probably get a little more engagement where someone may just shoot you a text rather than picking up the phone and calling. So I like to say call, text. Provide your email, provide your social media handles, or at least the ones you use the most, which could be your Facebook business page, or maybe it's an Instagram community page or something like that that you've set up, and or a website URL if you're running a private website for your business. And then I always try and bring them from my paper advertising into my digital database. How can you do that? So that's where the home value website can come into play. If you have one of these, providing that link on your postcard or mailer or whatever it is, and trying to get them to go to that link to get their home value instantly. So that's part of your pitch, you know, get your home value instantly here. They put it in, they put in their info. Now you just got a lead from that postcard, even if they didn't call or text you. So you're bringing this person into your database now. It could be a QR code. Those became popular again after COVID. They're still in the market a lot. People are familiar with them. They're comfortable with them now. So think about using QR codes. That can lead to your home value website. You can put a video link in there, and that's where the YouTube channel comes into play. If you record some sort of video about the community, about what you're offering, maybe the market report is a recorded video that you do once a month. You send out the postcard afterwards, and people can scan the QR. They can watch your video on your market update for the community. It's very effective. I guarantee you less than 1% of agents are doing that out there. QR code leading them to a recorded listing presentation. If you have one of those, you can do that. QR code adding your contact info to their phone, leading them to a referral contest you run monthly. That's a good way. Maybe they're not ready to sell, but maybe they know somebody that's ready to sell. And if you're running a contest on a monthly basis, that's how you can start to get these referrals from a community, even if they're not ready to list themselves. Or a QR code leading them to your community focused Facebook business page, Instagram, YouTube channel, things like that. So you always want to do a like and subscribe to be entered to win a monthly contest. You know, this starts building your channels up. Door knockers, I really think these are underrated. They're highly effective. They're much cheaper than a mailer, or at least they can be, especially if you're delivering them yourself. You want to get a little exercise in while you're working. what I like about them is they don't necessarily get lumped in with the junk mail. So someone goes to the mailbox, they get all their mail, they bring it in, they go to the counter and they're like trash, 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 you know, and you kind of get lumped in with that. Whereas a door knocker, you know, they have to take it off the door. Generally, they're looking at it as they're walking through the door. So it can be a little more effective in that sense. They come in a lot of different sizes, shapes, things like that, that can be eye-catching. And I like to think it's all the same rules apply to a mailer with consistency, value, CTA. You have to continue, you have to do this every month, just like a mailer. You have to have a value proposition, you have to have a call to action on it, except you want to keep it short and sweet. So I like to think of it as basically a 30-second pitch, meaning 30 seconds from the time they're at the door to the trash can, basically. So you have that amount of time to catch their attention, which is probably a little bit more than you would have gotten with a mailer. So that's why I think that door knockers are really underrated. They're cheaper, they can grab attention more, and they're holding it in their hand, a single piece, as they're walking, you know, into their kitchen or wherever the trash can is, because it will get thrown away for the majority of people, just like a mailer does. You're looking for that one basically each time. So that's why these can be a little more expensive than, you know, doing something digitally. So use high quality, high gloss paper, sharp colors, make your value proposition bold and the call to action easy. Again, Breakthrough Broker, Etsy, both have templates for these. You can design it right there. Keep the 3 rules that, you know, at least my 3 rules in here. Have your pricing, product, service, and then have your consistency, your value proposition, and your call to action on each piece. Last one, social media. You know, geofarming with social media. It's a little more difficult if you're running ads and stuff like that, because we can't dive down like we used to, especially with Facebook advertising and stuff like that. But you can entice community consumers to like your community page, to keep up to date with neighborhood market information. Usually contests for page likes and page follows helps to build this up. This is where you can also share your home value website to entice your following to get their instant home value and getting them, you know, into your digital database. Friending or following people in the community on social media can increase your database of contacts for geofarming. Spend a little time daily liking, commenting on posts from your connections, and then work your way into reaching out via Messenger to invite them to your market reports or community page. If you have your database being built and you have an open house within the community, this can be a good way to invite them to your open house as well. So Anna, he's posting a few things in the chat if you guys want to read in there as well as we go. So this method definitely takes a little more strategy and finesse to build, and it's best for people who enjoy social media and are good with it, and they get a good return on their investment or return on their time doing it. If you are not active on social media, you don't really like it, I don't really recommend this. You might want to go the other route with door knockers and mailers to start ingraining into the community you want to sell in. You can run ads that offer a value piece to homeowners. This can be an offer, you know, seller's guides, monthly updates on home values, other creative value pieces. You have to keep in mind, though, that with Facebook ads, they require a 15-mile radius at minimum. So that makes your farm area pretty wide, which is not necessarily a farm area at that point. So that's why social media, if you're running ads trying to generate interest that way for a specific community, is a little more difficult these days. Some of these other methods can be definitely a lot better. Lastly is the nurturing. This is always the part where agents kind of fall flat, in my opinion, because generating the leads generally isn't that tough. It's the follow-up, because you have to remember that most people these days, we're in the digital age, information is readily available. People really do a lot of homework these days before taking action, and that could be sometimes a year before they're taking action. And that could be buying their first home, or maybe they want to sell the home they're in and downsize into a different community, and they do a lot of research before they do that. So getting these people onto your database is the first step. Next, you need to make sure that you have a really good follow-up system, and that's where those email drip campaigns come into play. Keeping them informed, keeping them engaged, reaching out to them periodically, things like that. This is, in my opinion, the most important part of lead generation is the nurturing, because you're building the pipeline for the future. I know we all want instant gratification. We want the lead. We want them to buy right now. We get the lead. We want them to sell right now. And that's just unreasonable. If you have that kind of mindset. I know we all need to make that sale right now, but those will come as you do this. But for the most part, a lot of this is going to be 3 months down the road, 6 months down the road, but you're building that pipeline. You're talking to that seller for 3 months, you're talking to that buyer for 3 months, or maybe 6 months. And we're not talking every day, we're talking about monthly check-ins, things like that, to make sure they are going to, work with you when that time is right. So you have the right now people that you have, and then you have other ones that you're working on for future business. And that's how you start building your pipeline. And that's where you get your sustainable career, because you already have business set up for the future. 3 months from now, 6 months from now, a year from now. I have a perfect example myself. I just took a listing this weekend. I've been talking to this guy for 5 months, and he's wanted to sell, but he had a title issue. So he's been mostly doing it, clearing his title issue for the past 5 months. We finally got it cleared last week, and we listed. So, when I originally came into contact with this person, yes, they wanted to, but they couldn't sell. So I could have said, okay, great, and never called him back, and I wouldn't have a listing today. But now I do, because I kept in contact with him. I set up reminders on my phone. I didn't really need to do anything as far as nurturing them. I just needed to keep in contact with them on this particular contact that I had. So other ones, though, especially the ones that are quietly watching you, they're getting your information, they're getting your marketing material and all that stuff. They will reach out when the time is right, if they haven't already, or they haven't got into your database. But if they have got into your database, then that's where the nurturing comes into play, because they will all of a sudden reach out and say, hey, I've been getting your stuff for the past 5 months, wasn't quite ready. We were waiting for summertime, we were waiting for this or that, or some life event or something. And all of a sudden, your email comes across, the timing's right, and boom, now you got a lead. So we have a question. So there's some stuff in the chat if you want to read that. This upcoming Wednesday, not next week, but our Wednesday webinar for the month of November is going to be on the third Wednesday. We'll send out notification on it. We will do a goal setting class with a business coach. That's going to be our guest speaker for the month of November. She's a pretty high level business coach. I've been with her for about a year. She's got some really, really great tools. But one of them that she's going to share is going to be reverse engineering goals, which I think is going to be a great topic as we head into, the seasons. And a lot of us are thinking about, okay, how are we going to set up for next year, 2023? This will be a great way. So keep in touch for that. We'll send out communication for it. Otherwise, if you want to set up a strategy session or anything with me, always let me know. And I can show you some of this stuff a little bit more. If you're interested in getting Sierra, let me know. It's a really robust CRM, but it can be used at a very basic level if you want. And it does have some really good tools, such as the market reports and such as the home value site. So if you are going to be doing any mailers or anything like that, it's a good addition to what you're doing because it brings the digital piece into it. So you use the mailers to drive the traffic into your CRM, and then you let your CRM do the nurturing. So with that said, guys, I am, yes, Annie, Jeff Lobb is doing a 2023 Business Coaching 2 event live. I think they just sent out the email. So if you don't have your Coach 52 account, let me know. We'll set you up with one. It's free. Even if you don't use the accountability tool in there, which I think is actually a really great tool, every week he puts out new content, and then once a month he does a live event. This month is the 2023 business coaching, the business plan. So he's really big on setting up your business plan for each year. So check that out. If you need a Coach 52 account, just email us. We'll set you up real quick. So other than that, guys, I hope you have a great week, and we'll talk to you soon.